Hello and good evening. Today I want to share with you my favorite person on this planet, my Uncle Tom, also known as Uncle Bomb. Tom is my father's brother and has been a huge part of my life since the day I was born. Tom, for most of his life, has been a single man, so he was like an older brother that we never had to my sisters and I. He would be at our house 6 out of 7 days of the week. He would go on all our family vacations and would always come bearing gifts whenever we saw him. Looking back on my childhood memories, Tom is in almost all of them. Tom was always over my family's house. He would always entertain everyone, and we always looked forward to seeing him. This is one of my favorite pictures of Tom, just because it shows his just childish kind of personality. This is him and I when I was young, and you can just see how we're in the living room messing around. My sister's in the background. That is obviously Tom. So Tom is a truck driver for UDF Ice Cream, and his hours used to be 4 a.m. to roughly 2 p.m. Monday through Thursdays. So as you can imagine, he would be extremely tired when he would come over my family's house on the weekdays. Tom would show up always, always for dinner with a gallon of sweet tea and a six-pack of Sam Adams bottles. After dinner, he would make his way to the couch and fall asleep with his half-drinking beer in his hand, and when he was sleeping, he'd always end up spilling his beer all over the place. My family and I soon learned our lesson and began to take the beers from his hand before they got spilled. Furthermore, Tom is always the life of the party. He knows how to put a smile on everyone's face. I love how Tom does not always act his age, and he can still act like a kid most of the time. Starting when I was about 6, my family, Tom, and I would go to Cocoa Beach almost every summer to the same hotel. So, 5 years straight, once a week, every day, Tom made it a competition between him and I to race to this giant curly slide outside of the hotel. The curly slide would open up around roughly 8 a.m. So every morning we would get out of bed and rush to the curly slide every morning, and that's just one of my favorite memories of Tom when I was younger. And then I have a couple pictures of us on that vacation. Here is one of us when he buried me in the sand, or I buried him in the sand. There he is at the bottom. And then here's another picture of him when he paid for us to be able to hold that gator. Um, Tom's childish behavior slowed down a little bit when he met his wife Jane. Uh, Jane is a school teacher that works with my mom. So of course, naturally, when Tom finds out he's getting hooked up with a school teacher, he brings an apple the first time he meets her. Tom has always had bad luck with his girlfriends, and I just think that's because he's just way too nice of a person. But he finally found a keeper with Jane. They got married this past summer, and I have a couple pictures of Tom and Jane. They are right here. So here's Tom and Jane at their wedding. Or they're at a wedding, they're not at their wedding. And then there's Tom and Jane. In conclusion, Tom is an amazing human being. He has always been my best friend and an inspiration to me. Tom has taught me so many life skills and has made me into the man I am today. I believe that everyone deserves an Uncle Bomb in their life. Someone who inspires them and just makes life so much more enjoyable.